It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. He's Joe Reinagel. I'm Jason Minix. Our AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Road coverage from Las Vegas continues, brought to you by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds and Synergetics. As the home of the Dallas Cowboys in San Antonio, very cool to talk with Cowboys running back Tony Pollard. And what's interesting, Tony, is, at training camp we had you on and you had this thing around your neck and we were asking you about it. And now you're on Radio Row promoting it.
Yeah, I've been teamed up with Q-Collar now for about 2 years, and it was a no-brainer for me. Just anytime that you can prioritize brain health and, help extend the longevity of your career, I'm all for it. It's something that you don't really feel once you get used to wearing it. You honestly forget that it's on you.
Now, it's called Q-Collar, right? Is that correct? Now, so you put that on. You put that on when you're playing?
Yeah, every game.
Yeah.
It's a night and day difference. Just when I think about before I got the Q-Collar and taking big hits, and that little ringing feeling that you get up top, it goes away shortly, but that little feeling that you get after a big hit, since I've been wearing the Q-Collar, I don't get those feelings anymore.
Nice.
Cowboys running back Tony Pollard joining us here on the Blitz. When we talked to you in Oxnard, we knew you're on the tag. Zeke's gone. You're going to be the guy. And we talked about what you thought the season would be like. You went through the season. Internally, for you personally, how did the season go for you?
I feel like it was a pretty good season for me, especially coming off of broken leg, torn ligaments in my ankle, and then, still being able to be a 1,000-yard rusher this year. As a whole, regular season we did good, but just disappointing in the postseason that, we couldn't come out and get the W.
When you look at that, Tony, and I don't want to rehash the Green Bay game. That's gone. But was it something that Green Bay was doing that kind of threw you guys for a little bit of a loop? Or it seemed like they just took off and kind of hit you guys in the mouth right away?
That's a tough one. I say they executed better that day. They were the better team that day.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of how it goes. For Mike McCarthy calling plays as opposed to Kellen Moore, you as the number one running back, hard to gauge what he was doing in the running game. But remember, he kept saying he wanted to run the ball more. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all right, when is he going to give Tony the ball more often? Were you wondering the same thing? Like, he wants to run the ball more. When am I going to get 20 carries a game?
I kind of got the gist of the offense because I feel like last year with Kellen Moore, it was more of a run the ball to open the pass game type of offense, but this year was more of a pass the ball to open up the run game. So me looking at, the history that he's had with quarterbacks and players, it kind of made sense.
What does Tony Pollard do now? I mean, what is when you're in the off season, and I know you've got some negotiations coming up and where you're going to be, and what do you do right now? What's your routine?
Right now, after the Super Bowl is over with, I'm grind mode back to it. I'm hitting it and getting it. And I know I'll be better than last year because I'm not rehabbing, trying to get back to square one. Now I can actually get better, better my game this offseason. So, just having that, knowing that, I'm having a healthy offseason, I feel like it's going to make all the difference for me this year coming up.
Tony Pollard joining us here on the Blitz. To touch on that, coming off the injury, everybody said, including you thought you were going to be fine. Mm-hmm. But we didn't see that big explosive play this past season like we had in years past. And people were talking about, well, if Zeke was getting the bulk of it, you came in fresh and you were able to get those big plays. Do you think the lack of the explosive plays was because you weren't where you needed to be?
I wouldn't say that. There was a lot of different things that played into that. I would say after the Panthers game is when that's when I felt like I was back, to being healthy. And, with the scheme, our offense changing a little bit, that played a role into it too. So it was a little bit of different things.
How much do you get involved in what's going to happen in the offseason, whether you negotiating to be back with Dallas or whether it's another team? How much do you get involved in that?
I try to stay out of it, really. Let my agent do the dirty work. He comes and tells me what's going on, what's the word, what's going around. And I tell him what I'm thinking, what I want. And then I let him go back and do work. And then he'll come back and let me know.
What does Tony Pollard want?
I want to get better every year. I want to be better.
Are you and I say this, and are you attached to the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, is that somewhere you want to be?
I mean, that's somewhere I would love to be, play my career at. But at the end of the day, it's a business, so you can't forget that. That's got to be first and foremost. So it is what it is. Hopefully we can, get some going in Dallas and come back, but we don't know yet.
Well, and again, they did offer you a long-term contract. Remember, we talked about that in Oxnard. Whatever they offered, it wasn't up for 3 years, not what you wanted or whatever it was. Yeah. You bet on yourself playing on the tag. Do you think they'll tag you again this year, or are you really going to have the chance to either get a great deal from Dallas or one to your liking, or you're going to go be a free agent?
Honestly, it's kind of hard for me to tell right now with the season technically still going on. I feel like after Super Bowl and once the free agency market gets going, then we'll have a better understanding of where things are going. But yeah, it's kind of hard for me to know right now.
You're not giving us any kind of tell here, man. We're in Vegas. You should be giving it, some kind of like. I know you want to be in Dallas, but you're going where the biggest paycheck is, right?
It's a business.
Yeah, it's a business. And do you think the running back market this year will be a little different than it was last year? I mean, it was crazy last year when it came to running back.
Definitely.
You think it'll be any different?
I hope it's a little different, but it's kind of hard to tell right now.
Tony Pollard joining us here on the Blitz. And Tony, you've got a skill that a lot of us probably wish we had, but we don't have the ability to do it. The season ended and you disconnected from the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, seeing you yesterday on Pat McAfee, find out that Dan Quinn was no longer on your staff. What was my first thought was, is this guy been under a rock? And he said, man, I've disconnected. How do you disconnect from the world like that, man?
Once you're a Dallas Cowboy, it's easy.
Really?
It's easy. It comes with being a Cowboy. The media, the attention, they're going to times two whatever you're doing. If you have a good game, they're going to say you should be MVP. You have a bad game, they may say you shouldn't be in the league. So, just trying to block all of that out, stay neutral, and, keep your mind clear.
There's not like a group text that says, hey, man, Dan Quinn's out? I mean, you just don't by accident see it on Sports Center?
Nah, I've been out of it, out of football, out of the loop.
What are you doing?
But, I mean, that's a good question, right? Because it seems like the Dallas Cowboys, of all the teams in the NFL, are the most scrutinized. Mm-hmm. How difficult during the season is that to deal with, or how do you deal with it?
I mean, honestly, to it, that's all I know. I've been a Cowboy since I've come into the league, so I'm used to the media, the attention, the stories, and the crazy reports that they come out with. So at this point, it's normal to me. Like it's nothing. It's not too much that could surprise me, with the media and what comes out with the Dallas Cowboys. So you just have to learn to block it out. Just keep the blinders on and stay focused.
So you think about all the news out there, sports channels, social media. I'm guessing you're not going to be like Micah and start your own podcast.
Nah, that ain't me.
What do you think of Micah's podcast?
I watched like 1 or 2 episodes, like some of it. I mean, it's cool podcast, but it's just not my type.
Not gonna do that, huh?
And
you really
I don't blame you.
Like nobody texted you like Dan Quinn's out?
Nah.
That's crazy to me. Literally.
I mean, but it's off season. You got to think, guys are with their family. They're on vacations. Like everybody's separated. Like so,
it doesn't affect Tony anyway.
Well, I mean,
right?
You got friends.
I talk to the defensive guys a lot. Actually, I talk to them a lot. But yeah, we never spoke about that.
So, any idea who's going to be the new defense coordinator?
I got no idea.
No, you even know who's interviewing. I'm kidding, man. Good stuff. Tony Pollard, I hope we get to see you in Oxnard in August, man.
Yes, sir. I hope to.
AA Best Bail Bonds. Big game coverage live from Las Vegas. Powered by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, Synergenics, and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.